Hey, it's great to have you back. This is our Disruptor segment. Philip Singleton with us, running for the State House in Georgia. Special election on September 3rd. What a crazy day to have a special election in the Georgia State House. I think that's District 71. Hey, Philip, great to have you, man.
Hey, Mr. Fredericks, great to be on.
Oh, please call me John. Hey, I covered Georgia for a long time. I lived in Atlanta for 2 decades, and I owned the Beacon there. I was the publisher there, and so we covered it like a glove. Back in the Mark Burkholder days, he was my favorite guy. He was the Speaker pro tem of the House, and we were there when Sonny Perdue got elected and Governor Deal. So I spent a lot of time there. Tell us about your district and this special. What's going on?
Well, it's an interesting time here in Georgia politics. We've got Governor Kemp's doing amazing things, and there's a real grassroots conservative movement in Georgia to try to, counteract this blue wave that we keep hearing about. We haven't really seen it yet, but we know there's elements out there trying to make it happen. But special elections, unique challenge. It's a shotgun election. So in our race, there's 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat, and probably the most clear example you've seen in recent history here in Georgia of a, hand-selected yes vote for bigger government Republican, establishment candidate versus a grassroots candidate like myself. So we're just, we're honored to have the opportunity to keep serving our country and to be able to represent truth and transparency.
Hey, Philip, what is, describe the boundaries, the general area for me to Georgia's 71st House District.
Yes, sir. So we've got 11 precincts in Coweta County and 1 precinct in Fayette County. So for those who don't know, aren't familiar with Georgia, we're just south of Atlanta. We're just, kind of the northern portion of us is suburbs, and then the southern portion is real rural. So we've got basically the city of Noonan, the east side of Noonan into Sharpsburg, down to Turin, Moreland, which are great small Georgia towns, and then, 1 portion of Peachtree City, which is a much larger town here in Georgia, but about 30 minutes south of Atlanta.
Hey, look, I know exactly where it is. I know where the very iconic city of Noonan, Georgia is, and I was just there. Actually, my son was playing baseball in that big Atlanta Woodbat tournament they have, and he's an incoming freshman in high school, so our team went down there. The high school team went down there. We played at Noonan High School. Beautiful high school. They've all refurbished it, and that we had a lot of fun doing that in Noonan. Great town. I don't know, Philip, how I remember these things, but when Pat Buchanan was running for president, was it 90? I got to think of when I was with his campaign helping him. I think that was the 92 campaign where he challenged George H. for the nomination, and his campaign headquarters he opened was in Noonan, Georgia. I'll never forget that. We had to go down there for that. So I've been there twice. Okay. So why are you the guy in this special? What makes you different than the 2 other Republicans in there?
Well, I think, primarily just our background. I joined the Army right after September 11th. I actually joined the Army September 20th, right after 9/11 happened. I was a college student. I wanted to be pre-med, but I remember President Bush standing there on the rubble of the World Trade Center saying, "We're at war." And so, I've always believed, I was raised to believe in integrity and the Constitution. And so I felt like I was called to go serve to defend us from attack. And, my wife and I married my high school sweetheart. We spent the next 15 years serving our country in the Army, 3 combat tours. And then 2017, I got out of the Army as a major after I'd done my Brigade XO and Battalion S3 time. And we moved home, and I started flying for the airlines. And I just had this overwhelming sense that God was calling me to keep serving, because I felt like our Constitution was just under attack. And in Georgia, we're seeing a major slide. We should not be a battleground state. We are a conservative state, but we've become a battleground state because there's so many quote-unquote conservatives in the legislature that are completely controlled by, the good old boy Georgia politics and the lobbyist money, and so they're just control. It's big government Republicans, and I really believe that that's why we're losing ground. And so we decided we needed to have another strong conservative that would stand up for our values and believes in things like term limits and actually balancing a budget and actually protecting our constitutional rights. And so we decided we've got the background and we've got the the gall and the tenacity to get up there and actually do what we say we're going to do, and so that's what we're doing. We're fighting for everyday Georgians.
I love what you're doing, and I think you're right. There's a lot of corporate money there, and you do have the big type of, big government type Republicans. Let me ask you, just remind me very quickly, the Speaker of the House now, who is that?
That's David Ralston.
So he's been there forever, hasn't he?
He has. And
it's got to be like a decade. He was there before Nathan Deal, so he's got to be there a decade. If you get to be Speaker, are you going to vote again for Ralston or maybe for Speaker Pro Tem Jan Jones?
Well, both Jan Jones and Ralston have both max contributed to the establishment candidates to the race. They know my stance. I think we need new leadership in Georgia. I think that we've got to break the corruption cycle, and the Speaker himself, he's been under attack quite a bit lately for some ethical concerns, and in Georgia we just need to make sure that we don't let the voters get distracted by those type of ethical issues, and the Republican Party has got to be the party that stands up for. This is WJ. We got to be the ones that acknowledge there's a difference between morality and legality, and make sure that we are the moral high ground and beacon. So, I think it's time for new leadership in Georgia, and I think they know it, and that's why they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they get someone in office that's going to perpetuate their power.
Wow! So both Jan Jones and Speaker Ralston donated the max to someone else. Is that what I heard correctly?
Yeah, that's right. One of our main opponents is the daughter of a longtime congressman from the state. He was a well-known congressman here. He's currently a lobbyist in Georgia.
Who's that? Who's that? I gotta go. Who is it?
It's Congressman Lynn Westmoreland.
Oh, Lynn Westmoreland. So his daughter is running for the House seat. So everybody's jumped on her bandwagon. Well, look, I hope you win. Time for change in Georgia. I've been there a long time, and I hope you win. And then it's time to vote for Jan Jones. I'd like to get somebody else in there. Ralston's been there too long. Really good guy, but you're right, man. You need change. Change. These guys been there too long. I'd love to see Jan Jones as Speaker. Woman, hard charger. I think that'd be fun. Anyway, good luck, man. I hope you win. I got to go. I'm out of time. Philip Singleton, what's your website? I got to go.
It's philipsingleton.com with one L.
And the special is September 3rd.
Yes, sir.
Right after Labor Day. Go, Phil. Hey, I hope you disrupt the whole Georgia cabal, Phil. Disrupt it. I want you to disrupt it all. You're the guy. And then vote for Jan Jones. Even though she gave Westmoreland's daughter the money, vote for anyway. John Fredericks Radio Network. Phil, the last person's advice you need is me. I got to go.